What's going on, guys? Back here with another Dumpster Talk podcast. Thank you guys for joining in. Coming up to the end of summer, already into September, so it's crazy. It's getting chilly. But yeah, we're kind of on a roll here. So Todd and I in the dumpster again, and we have three very special guests with us. So we have Tim, Lauren, and then Sandy, and they're with Water Street Mission. So thank you guys very much for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I know you guys' first podcast or
No.
yeah,
Yes,
Sandy's
yeah,
second
I
time
was
on the
seasoned
podcast.
professional.
I was here before with Jack Crawley, our president,
Yes.
and then we also shared the dumpster, very crammed in back then. Shared it with Blessings of Hope as well.
I think the dumpster. I'm pretty sure that day you had it sitting. Was it not right over there?
Yeah,
On the
yeah,
other
and it was
over there.
raining. I think it had been raining. Yeah, this is a totally different experience. I love what you've done with it.
A little bit of an upgrade.
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you guys? Any experience doing?
Not my first podcast. Also, not my first time in a dumpster. So,
This is your first rodeo, though.
well, I've also been to rodeos, so I think we've got it covered.
He's a seasoned veteran.
Yeah.
He is.
I don't know if this is my first. No, it's not my first podcast. This is my
no.
second podcast.
Yeah.
We did
is my
Tower
second podcast.
Marketing and then the Chamber.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Welcome back. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for being here.
This is
Great.
great.
We connected with them like a lot of times at different networking events, and we know you're very connected with Dan.
Yes, Dan. Yeah, Dan Saad is wonderful. He's a good friend of Water Street Mission, and so yeah, our paths have crossed quite a bit over the years.
Yes. So
He's
shout out.
also at all the networking events too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure. So if you guys want to kind of maybe go down the line, give like little bit of background on yourself and kind of what brings you here to working at Water Street today.
Yeah.
Sure. So how far back do you want me to go? So prior to coming to
you
Water
want, yeah.
Street, I served in various kind of full-time ministries, nonprofit. So I worked with college students for years, doing campus ministry with an organization called InterVarsity Christian Fellowship. And then I was a pastor for about 12 years. And then came to Water Street about 4.5 years ago. And the person who recruited me, so I work in development. I work with individuals who are supporting Water Street as a nonprofit. Most of our support comes from individuals, businesses, et cetera. So I get to work with the individuals, and the person who recruited me said, you'll be surprised how much it's like pastoring. And he was right. So that's been really fun.
Oh my gosh, it's my turn. Okay, I graduated from college in 2019. So I guess I can't say that I'm a recent college grad anymore. I feel like I actually probably shouldn't have been saying that for a while.
Compared
Compared to you, probably.
yeah.
And I studied communication studies, and I was one of those people that didn't really know what I wanted to do, to be honest. And so I started off kind of similar to Tim, working for a nonprofit ministry called Young Life that works with kids. So I did that for like 2.5 years, and then I transitioned into more traditional like development roles in nonprofits. So I've been at Water Street now and in Lancaster for almost a year and a half, almost 2 years, almost 2 years, which
Yeah.
is crazy.
Yeah.
And it's been a great learning experience. I think for people that don't necessarily know what they want to do, I think it's really good to have an open mind and just honestly do anything and just kind of figure out what it is that you enjoy doing, what it is that you don't. And I feel like this role really fits a lot of the things that I enjoy, which is meeting people and just interacting with different organizations. So it's been great.
Sorry, a bee.
Yeah, I'm scared.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm the oldest of the three of us, and so what brought me to Water Street was actually getting laid off from a job in advertising and marketing that I had for 20 years. So talk about God opening up another door for you when you think, oh my gosh, my world's over. I put so much into this job, and then lo and behold, a door opens and it's Water Street. And especially to become a business ambassador, so my marketing and my advertising knowledge came into play, and because we have marketing in the advancement department. So I don't necessarily do marketing, but yet it helps in me doing my job to know that. But I have a background that is publishing in Manhattan, and I just took a very unusual route to get here. So I think that I could say to your younger viewing and listening audience is just, you never know, like what Lauren was saying, you never know what path you're going to take. You just have to be aware of where your passion is and what makes you lean into life and a job. What are you good at? What should you get some more education for? You just never know where it is you're going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thank you for sharing that.
sure.
So for the listeners that might not know, what exactly is Water Street Mission and kind of what do you guys offer to the community?
Sure, I'll start it. Water Street Mission has been around for 120 years this year. That was in May. And so we are most known for our emergency assistance through shelter and food. So people can they come to our access center, men, women, and children come to our access center, and they meet with a caseworker, receive a meal, and we make sure we do background checks and make sure that they are able to stay with us and that we're the answer for them. Sometimes United Way's 211 is a phone call people can make to find out what local organization fits what their need is. So if their need is Water Street, they come through our doors and stay for 90 days, and they receive food, shelter, guidance. They can have meetings in our day shelter. They sleep. They could have a job. So that's like the immediate first step into Water Street is food and shelter. If somebody else wanted to take another area of it, I don't want to do too much talking.
Oh, okay. In addition to the emergency shelter, there are so many different ministries and programs associated with Water Street. We also have the residential program, which I think you touched on a little bit. So we have guests that stay in the emergency shelter, like Sandy was talking about, and that's a 90-day program. But then we have some guests who they can choose if they want to stay with us for a little bit longer. And these are typically people who they want more guidance, or maybe it's more accountability, or just help working through some of the just things that they're going through in life. Yeah. And so that program it's like 18 months. It kind of just depends on each person and how much extra attention and help that they need. Yeah. In addition to that, we have a health services program, and that has medical and dental services as well. And that's open to the community too. It's not just Water Street guests. So you have to fall underneath a certain income level or be underinsured and not have insurance.
And even behavioral health too.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So for our guests and residents, but also for the community at large. So if you're somebody who doesn't have insurance at all, you can come to Water Street and receive that care.
Right. What else, Tim? There's so much.
Yes, there's a lot. So one way to think about it or conceptualize it is we have services that engage people who are experiencing homelessness, but then we also have more of a community development piece because we recognize that homelessness and poverty are really complex issues. So there's a number of different ways that you need to come at those. And so along with the services that both Lauren and Sandy mentioned, we also have, we call it an outreach center. It's essentially a food bank where people from the community come. About 500 to 600 households every week come through our food bank and get food. That's part of when people donate food, that's part of where we get that from. So you may have heard of our Rescue Mission Food Drive, which is a big drive at the end of the year. That goes to help provide nutritious meals for folks in the community who are struggling. So we have a food bank, and then we also have an entire kind of continuum of what we call next gen ministries. So we have an early education center called Wonder Academy. So it provides high quality Christian pre-K for 3 and 4 year olds, and then a certified kindergarten class. We have an after school program for elementary school kids, provides mentoring, opportunity to connect with other kids, adults who care about them. And then we have a teen program called Teen Haven. It serves about 200 teens, primarily in the city of Lancaster, in the school district of the city of Lancaster. And so again, mentoring, vocational training, Christian discipleship, those kind of things. That's all what's going on there. And then we have Compass, which is a program for 18 to 26-year-olds. So these are folks who are kind of trying to figure out what's next for them. They're looking for a community. They're looking for a place to engage and grow spiritually, but also looking for a place to learn about opportunities. A lot of these are folks who maybe they're not going to college. They're trying to think about what opportunities exist for me. What can I do? So again, providing some of those support structures that engage folks all across the age groups. In addition to that, we're also kind of looking at we've been expanding, looking at some new opportunities. We just we're getting ready to, we purchased a building that we're renovating that's going to be our first intentional community that will provide next steps housing for people who graduate from our residential program. And the emphasis there is on community. So it's providing affordable housing, but in a space that provides really meaningful relationships that support people as they move into this stage, kind of after getting some of the healing and restoration that they need, providing support for them in the next steps.
And they'll have individual apartments as well as a shared kitchen and a shared dining room. And then they'll have a life coach on staff. So it continues. It's a bridge program, so to speak, of people who are moving on out into the community. We know the issue of the lack of affordable housing, and Lancaster County and Lancaster City is experiencing it. So we're not affordable housing solution per se, but we are offering a bridge back into community and environment and guidance that just continues for these people. Part of all of this too is we have a career in financial services. Yeah. So for our residents, they could learn about part of what the reason they found themselves in a poverty of finances, if that's the case, might be because they just never got that education or that mentoring or guidance to know about a retirement fund or how they save, and saving 10% of your salary, as a young person in order to grow the monies and savings, checking. So, and also guidance on writing a resume. So it's for our guests, but also the community. We're in this enhancement of our community outreach. We're adding that career and financial services to it. Because if we're seeing the same people come for food, what is it that's causing them to be on the edge of something like homelessness or lack of food, right? That's good. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I share a little story? I mean,
Yeah.
One of my favorite stories about some of these services is we had an individual who came to us to our shelter, and he was employed, had a decent job, but had made some decisions that got him under a mountain of credit card debt. So about $50,000 credit card debt, and he was just gonna apply for bankruptcy. But one of our coaches said, "Hey, just hold on. Before you do that, would you be willing to work with me for a little bit?" And over the course of 2 years, they actually worked together to pay that off. So he was able, while he stayed with us, to completely pay off his debt and get him in a place where he could start fresh. So it's just little things like that are actually big things, right? But the tools they need are manageable. They just need someone to help them with them.
It's a great program for people who are in need to kind of have, because not everyone has that guidance. So being able to have those mentors is huge. What initially kind of drew you three to the Water Street mission? Have you always kind of wanted to help people? Has that always kind of been like instilled in you since you were younger?
Well, it's funny for me. My son volunteered there, and what we had was a educational segment that was helping men get their GEDs. So he volunteered there, and then so it was always on my radar, Water Street Mission. But as I said, when I got laid off, somebody, Ann Williams, who at the time was with Lancaster City Alliance, had said Water Street's hiring. So that's how I ended up applying, actually, for a director of operations position that ended up becoming, seeing the business contacts, became the business ambassador. And then when I got so busy, I was so blessed to be able to hire Lauren. And so the two of us, that's what we do, is mainly communicate with businesses, whether that be owners, marketers, HR folks, and just talk about how they want to learn about Water Street. And so what brought me really, I came to Water Street. This is the first nonprofit I'm working for, and it's the first Christian organization I'm working for. So it's a big difference from marketing and advertising and ad agency world. So it was really mind-blowing, where I could just be in a place that was so graceful and full of such good people. So it was life-changing, and it's part of my spiritual journey. So I love it.
I think for me, I think it did kind of come from a desire of like wanting to make a difference and help people. Like I said earlier, I I had no idea what I wanted to do when I graduated. So I kind of was just like looking at any opportunity, and just whatever doors kind of opened, I kind of walked through. And so I remember when I came across the job opening at Water Street and I applied and I came for my first interview. It sounds so cliche, but it really was just like the feeling that I got when I came to campus for the first time. And everyone was, it wasn't even just that like everyone was super welcoming and kind, but it just genuinely felt like the people that worked at Water Street wanted to make a difference and really cared about the work that they were doing. And this isn't the first nonprofit I've worked for. I've worked for others, kind of like I mentioned, and they were great organizations, but like there was just something different about the way just that employees were interacting, especially with guests. And I think just even the fact that we refer to the people that stay at Water Street as guests was something that really stuck with me, and just the dignity that I saw was being extended and prioritized towards the people that are at Water Street. I don't know, I really liked that. And so it just felt like a really good fit for me. And yeah.
Yeah, I think I've always been drawn to things that kind of intersect faith and kind of the practical way that gets worked out in caring for people. And so even in my work as a pastor, some of the things that were most meaningful for me were when we would, as a church, serve in very concrete ways. And so I love that aspect of Water Street, that it's a place that out of a kind of deeply held Christian conviction moves in love to show dignity to folks who are struggling. And dignity is a big part. And I think one of the things that has always struck me about Water Street is how much time and energy and resources we spend on making sure everything we do communicates dignity to the individuals that we walk with. And that just amazes me again and again. And I love being part of an organization that's committed to communicating dignity to people who are struggling, who often get treated less than human, right? Yeah. They're the folks who often we don't make eye contact with because we think they're going to ask us for money. We don't want to do, like, they've spent years maybe on the street being treated like something other than human, to come to an organization that values what does it mean to treat someone as though they're made in the image of God from day one. That's just a big deal. I love it.
It is. And we get to talk to our guests. Like, we have got a great dining hall and kitchen, great, talented kitchen staff. So people can get meals, 7 days a week. And so our staff gets to go as well. And it's just an incredible blessing to get to know our guests and know them by name. And, we've got this one guest and he'll say, "Hey, where's your sidekick?" if he sees me without Lauren. But I know his name. I'm going to leave names out of it. But, it's just really amazing. And there's one gentleman that I've known for many years because he has come back. And initially he felt a little bit self-conscious because he was back again. And everybody knew who he was, but everybody welcomes them with such, everybody gets a second chance and a third chance and a fourth chance. We're not judging them. We're just glad and welcoming them. And as we say in the business, loving on them to make them feel like part of a Christian family and to just feel like they are somebody and be seen. And, there's a story that we learned about. And it's not necessarily a story per se. It is someone's tale of what they've experienced. And I think for the first time, someone heard they were called by their name for the first time in
like 3 years.
In 3 years, they'd never been called by their name. And you just figure you're on the street, you're nameless, you're barely seen, you're avoided. So it's pretty moving.
Yeah, it does sound like definitely a fulfilling job.
It
I'm
is.
sure, definitely. Good to feel like you can help in every single day.
Yep.
You guys kind of touched on maybe your roles in the business. Do you want to talk about? I guess you said so 120 years this year for Water Street. Do you want to talk? Are you mainly operate in Lancaster, and is that kind of how it's always been, or how did it? Kind of the history of how it got started?
Well, yes, it's Lancaster County only,
okay.
And May was 120 years. We've named some of our buildings. We don't name buildings after donors. We do name buildings after people who have started this path. Yeah. And so Sieber Hall and what's another one?
Hayes.
Hayes Hall. Yes. So it did start with just a family and people getting together to help young women, right?
Yes, it was a doctor and his wife. They started a Bible study in
Yeah.
the city, and then they started to notice there was a lot of young women who were on the street. And often their options were either to live in like tenement housing or to be prostitutes.
Yes.
And so they realized they needed to do something. And so, again, driven by their faith, they ended up serving meals, I believe, at first.
Yeah, I think
and
that was
then
it.
they developed
Bible
housing
study,
for
yeah.
women and then men. And this thing just kind of evolved over the years.
Based off of like the need around, yeah.
Yeah, and that continues to be. I mean, the new programs we have going on, it really is a situation where we're trying to assess what are the opportunities to kind of walk more deeply with people, to provide the services that will help people hopefully experience restoration for the long term, because that's our goal. We'd love to work ourselves out of a job. So that's really our goal.
Yeah.
And we never create something or just decide upon a new ministry that might be answered by another organization within Lancaster County.
Right.
We work very closely with Shelby Nauman and Tenfold and Lancaster County Food Hub. There's a lot of organizations who are addressing this same issue of homelessness and poverty of food and funding. Finanta, that used to be Community First Fund, is a local bank that assists our guests. I mean, all our career and financial services coaches need to do is to walk right over there with our guest. Maybe they've set up a meeting, but they need $5 to open an account because their permanent address can be Water Street. Right at that point, they're not turned away. So there's a lot of organizations and businesses that really work together to address these issues.
And if I can say, I mean, you asked about the what the organization does, just for the folks who are listening who might be interested, because most people never think. I don't know that I've ever met anyone who's like, you know what I want to do when I grow up? I want to raise money.
Yeah.
Nobody wants
definitely
that.
not.
Like, everybody hates talking about money. So the three of us, really, our role for this organization, Water Street is completely privately funded. And so we don't get government grants. We don't rely on those kinds of sources. So we work with businesses, individuals, foundations who believe in what we're doing, churches who want to invest financially. And so there's a real opportunity there for anybody who really cares about people, is interested in this space. Raising money is really not about trying to get money from people they don't want to give. It's really about helping people who desire to be generous find a way to do that effectively. And so it's really different. I don't know. You guys can speak to your experience. I think me coming into it, there was a real hesitation with like, do I really want to do that? And it's just been very different than I thought it would be. Because just like we treat our guests with dignity, our goal is to treat our donors with dignity, right? To walk alongside them as partners and really just to help them do what they want to do anyway, and show them the impact that it's making.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I mean, especially as a younger person, it was definitely a very intimidating job to enter into because I'm like, what do you mean I got to ask somebody for a lot of money? Like, it definitely was an intimidating thing, but I've definitely found it to be like what you're saying. And especially, like, I'm not from Lancaster County. And so my very first, I would say like one of the first exposures I really had to how generous this county is was Extra Give last year. And just seeing how much money, not even for Water Street, but just in general, was raised in a single day was a really cool experience. And I think, yeah, it just kind of opened my eyes to the reality. Like, there are so many people that want to give and they're excited to give. And fundraising doesn't have to be this scary, like, pulling teeth sort of situation. It's just like walking with people and trying to figure out like what are they already excited about, like partnering with, or how are they excited about being generous, and just working with them to make that happen. So
And relationships. It's just,
Yeah.
it's all about relationships.
Yeah.
So, you're sitting down to have a cup of coffee with somebody, you're really genuinely care about how they are, how their business is doing, how their family's doing. What can we do for you? What can we pray for you? And then find out that they literally lean in to something that we are doing, whether that be the children in our pre-K kindergarten or teens. It's just, you never know. So we've been undergoing, we had a strategic plan, and we've been undergoing or in a capital campaign right now. And there's so many new things that we're able to bring to the community and those in need because of our donors. But volunteers is another key, a key component. We rely on our volunteers. And these are volunteers who are coming and serving in our dining hall. We have had Patricia and Sharon are two who have been with us for so many years, retired, and they have their set Thursday that they're coming, and you're going to see them on the line. And our guests know their name, and they know our guest's name. It's just an incredible thing to witness.
Yeah, how important do you think it is for people to volunteer? We've talked about this in the past. I feel like in our generation, we're not as good at volunteering as probably the older generation. How important is that, do you think? Because that's huge in your guys' world.
Oh, it
and it's a really
absolutely
important
is.
thing to do. We volunteer a lot in Columbia, like the Lions Club. We're members of. They do a lot of like donating to different organizations, different sporting clubs,
Right.
stuff like that. How
Right.
important is the volunteering?
It's really important to Water Street. It's important to all of the nonprofit organizations. You can always find something. We had somebody that we know who is more in the Ephrata area, and they were interested in volunteering, but their young high school student daughter didn't want to drive into the city. Well, we know a lot of partners up that way whom they could, and Blessings of Hope is up there as well. So there's a lot of partners, there's a lot of organizations, and you typically can go onto their website and find volunteering as a step in. And Water Street's really good. Stu and Vince in that department are really good about opening up the doors and just giving people an overview with a video and in person and even online if somebody doesn't necessarily want to come and do that. So we do really rely on it. So if you find something that really, and that's what I would recommend to teens, as long as somebody's 13 and older, they can come by it by themselves, right?
No.
No, is it?
13 to 16, they need a parent.
Right.
16 to 18, you need a guardian.
Thank you.
And then 18 and older.
Thank you. Yeah. So, and we've got that information on our site, but and even if it's not necessarily serving in the kitchen, there's also opportunities to help facilities. We had a partner, Warfel Construction, come, and they were weeding, planting, do outdoors on a nice day and just giving of their time. And more and more employers are giving VTO, volunteer time off. So we really appreciate that when maybe an HR department or an owner of a business will just call us up and find out, how can I bring my people to come as a team building, but also, just building up your desire to help.
And if I can just make a comment, I mean, it's not just that volunteering is important for us, though it really is. I think volunteering is a really formative tool for us as individuals. I remember sitting in a room with a bunch of fairly wealthy people, and there was someone who asked the question, what's the most meaningful gift you ever gave? And this person who asked was looking for a financial response, like what is the time you wrote a check that meant a lot to you? And every person talked about an experience where they volunteered. They didn't talk about, not that it's not meaningful to give money. Certainly it is and can be. But for most of us, where we get shaped is in the stuff that we're doing, right? The concrete things. And when you come alongside and you're serving people who normally you don't interact with, suddenly you start to see things differently. And so I would just say, I know it never feels like you have extra time, but if you really want to be someone who's growing and learning and being shaped in ways that are healthy and good for you and good for the world, volunteering is a great way to do that.
For sure. Thank you guys for sharing that. We need to get better at kind of getting outside of our community and volunteering because we do a lot in Columbia, but Columbia is such a small area in Lancaster County. So we appreciate you sharing that. Do you guys each kind of want to share like what your day-to-day looks like and maybe like a favorite part throughout your day that kind of brings the most joy?
Well, honestly, it varies a lot. There are some days that are more office heavy, whether that's like communicating with donors or having internal meetings or planning events. Like some days look more like that. Other days are like this, where we're randomly in a dumpster. Or
Was not on the job description.
that was not on the job description, but I'm so grateful to be here. or like networking events. Like we'll see you guys at chamber events sometimes, just being out in the community. So I would say personally, my favorite part about this job is definitely being out and just getting to interact with different people. So that's my day to day.
Yeah, yeah. And I can say as well, because we're both, business ambassadors, but I love we have weekly one-on-ones, Lauren and I. And so I just love that we can do that together. Okay. We are at Sod Metal Recycling, and there's noise, but I'm a loud talker, so hopefully you can hear this. But I also love when we're able to learn.
Oh my God.
It's a little funny.
Sam. Hello. Sorry, technical difficulties.
But it's also awesome when we're able to work together as a department. The Advancement Department of Water Street Mission, we're blessed to have 17 or 18 people in our department. So I love when we get together once a month. We have an entire group meeting, or we have prayer where somebody can lead prayer, and we learn about each other, and we learn about our different journeys. And so I love that part too. But nothing beats like sitting down with just somebody, a business constituent, who ends up turning into a friend because they just want to learn more and walk alongside us too. So I love that part.
Yeah.
How about you?
Yeah, it is a lot of variety, which is one of the things that I enjoy about the job. So some days it's office heavy, some days you're in a dumpster,
Right.
some days it's a lot of, so for me, for folks who are in my role, we deal with, we have a certain group of individuals that we work with. So I have about 150 people that I relate to. And so it's meeting with them, it's getting to know them, it's helping them understand what we're doing. So sometimes, depending on their schedule, that could be in person, that could be email, sometimes we're texting. I've done video calls with people in other states regularly. So it's really whatever it takes to help people understand who we are and what we're doing, and how their investment is making an impact in the lives of our neighbors. So that can look a lot of different ways. And we didn't really talk about, we do events too. There's a lot of different events that we do. So for example, this Sunday, we're doing something called Reverberate, which is a big worship concert at Longs Park in Lancaster.
Be there.
Oh, great. You'll be there.
Yeah.
And in the midst of it, you might be like, why does Water Street do a worship concert? Well, some of that is we partner with churches. And so we see this as part of kind of the work together to build community, to worship God. At that event, we're also going to recognize a number of different individuals who are doing really hands-on, transformative work in the community. So it's a great way to bring some of that stuff together. It's a fun event, but it takes a lot of time to plan those things. And then these folks work on things like sponsorships so that we can do those events, because events take money. So there's a lot that goes into that, and we're involved in that as well. So it can look really different. So we do a golf event that these guys do a lot more in it than I do, but the reason I bring that up is because once a year I get to drive a golf cart around, and there's a great company that donates beef jerky, and so I'm eating beef jerky, driving a golf cart around. That's my job for the day. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Plug for Pony Express.
Pony Express. There you go.
Sounds like a good day to me.
Yeah, right.
And speaking of events, Rescue Mission Food Drive's coming up, and for the very first time ever, Sod Metal Recycling is a sponsor. So yes,
Thank
you
you,
so
Sod
much
Metal
for that.
Recycling. Yeah, you
So
guys
they
great.
will have a box here to collect non-perishable food.
Could you just put it in the dumpster?
From you could, I guess we could build it up here in the dumpster.
Dumpster's pretty clean.
Yeah,
Honestly,
it's not perishable.
is
It's cans.
nice.
Yeah,
Pretty cans.
We keep her clean.
nice.
but thank you for that.
No, yeah, of course. We love doing, like growing up here in Columbia, the basketball team would always do the food boxes for Christmas, I think. Christmas or Thanksgiving. I think they actually do both.
It could be both, because a lot of people, I mean, that's when we have our food drive,
Yeah.
but we do need food, year round.
yeah.
So we'll have people do collect food for us and do food drives or diaper drives or something like that all
Yeah.
year round.
I just wanted to ask, I guess we talked about kind of where Water Street is today, all the different things you guys offer, all the different ways you guys help people. What do you guys what's your goals, and what is the vision you want to see Water Street get to maybe in the next 10 years, next 5 years, wherever you kind of want to take that question?
Yeah, yeah.
I think one thing that I would love to see and continue to see is just consistency. Like I feel like, I mean, Water Street's been around for 120 years, which is insane. And obviously I was not around for most of those 120 years. But like, just, it's really cool to see the longevity of the organization. And like, Water Street has always stayed true to what Water Street is and what Water Street does. And so I think that's like what I would love to continue to see. Like, as we all know, our world is crazy and there's things changing all the time. But like, to be an organization that is committed to doing good work in the community and continuing to do that 120 years later, I think, without losing touch of like its Christian roots, I think is just really admirable. So I would love to see that continue.
Yeah. I'd like to see everybody know more about the different ministries. So if the average Joe on the street was, questioned as to what we do, that they knew more beyond the emergency shelter and food, and really could see and the true heart of Water Street and exactly what it is we do. Water Street has changed over the years. You used to have to go to chapel before you could get a meal. That's not Water Street today. So I wish that people would go to our website, meet our people, and learn more about who we are today.
We'll have your website down below so people check it out.
Thank you.
That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, I'm not sure I would say much different. I mean, my kind of real quick, kind of sarcastic, like I would love for us to be out of business in 10 years. I'd love for us all to have to find different jobs because we as a society figured out how to solve the issues of homelessness and extreme poverty. I don't anticipate that. And so I think, one of the things I love about what Water Street does is that we're really committed to partnering. We recognize that we don't do everything. There's certain things we're supposed to be doing. We want to do them well. But as these guys have mentioned earlier, we partner with a lot of organizations. So for us to continue to figure out how to partner well in a way that actually brings together the many, many different individuals and organizations who really care deeply about our neighbors who are struggling, and that we can kind of lead in creative ways to help kind of create systems that support folks who are falling into these seasons of homelessness and poverty.
That's perfect. Thank you guys for sharing that. You guys obviously have a huge connection to the community here. What is one message you would like to leave the community, or leave kind of like the people coming up, future ambassadors of Water Street? What would you kind of leave for them?
Wow. That's
Sorry, that's a deep
That's
one.
a good deep question to end on. Yes. I guess I would say it's kind of been said, but don't be afraid to step in and learn more about this. Don't be there. People make an assumption about homelessness and who homeless neighbors are and what has brought them to experiencing it. Realize there's so many faces and reasoning, women who have had to leave abusive domestic violence and situations to come to us. So just know don't make any assumptions, but just lean into it, and don't be afraid to ask the right questions, because you might be able to thrive and make a world change, a community change in your role, business by business and person by person.
I think I would say specifically for future ambassadors, I think sometimes for me, I think I struggle in this role at times because like at Water Street, there's more of like the administrative staff, which is kind of where we land, versus the program staff that are actually doing like the hands-on work with the people that we serve. And so I think for me at times, it's really easy to lose sight of like, well, am I actually really making a difference? Because I'm not interacting with these people every day or having you know what I mean? Like, I just feel sometimes disconnected from that part of it and start to question like, well, am I actually making a difference? Because I'm just sitting at my computer right now writing emails and I feel like I'm losing my mind. But I think for me, what's been helpful is taking the time to go to campus and actually be with some of the people and interact and learn people's names and hear their stories. And so I would say to future ambassadors, like, don't lose sight of like what you're actually doing. It's not just sending the emails. It's not just asking for sponsorship money. Like, the work that we're doing is making a difference, and it allows our other program team and organization to do the work that they're doing. So it may not look exactly like what they're doing, but it is still really important in making a difference. So I would just say stay focused and just don't lose sight of like what's important.
Yeah. Again, I don't know how to. Those are really good. I think maybe something like everyone has a set of gifts, right? And your gifts might be really obvious how they meet people's needs. It may be not so obvious, as one was saying. It might be something that feels more behind the scenes or whatever. But whatever your gifts are, whatever the talents are, whatever vocation you end up finding yourself in, there are opportunities to use your gifts, to use your vocation in a way that actually makes the world better. And that's, I would just encourage whoever's listening to think about what are the gifts you've been given and how do you do whatever you're doing, whether you're going to be an engineer or, a scientist or, work in manufacturing, carpentry, whatever it might be, nonprofit world. How have you been uniquely positioned to make a difference in the lives of the people around you? Do that, and the rest you'll figure out.
Yeah, so many times people have said that, we've got people, facilities, maintenance, life coach, case managers. A lot of them will say, I can't do what you do. It's because we're bringing our gifts that God gave us to our job. And we look at what they're doing, and it's emotionally difficult. It's secondhand trauma. They're doing what they're best and what their gifts are as well. So all working together, you need every single part of it. Advancement and development is also a ministry. We all work together to make the life change, hopefully, happen.
Awesome. Thank you guys for sharing that.
Really great points for sure.
Thank you.
We always ask the same finale question. Do you want to wrap it up with that?
Sure, yeah. Kind of ask every guest we have on what advice you would give to someone starting out their career. As Todd and I are 23 years old. I'll be 24
goodness.
next month. But yeah, so if you
I
guys
don't know why I
could
said
just,
that. I'm like 3 years older than you. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
well, whatever life lessons you guys got for us. Or just career lessons, anything around that line. Yeah.
I would say, like what you guys are doing in taking advantage of someone who wants to mentor you. Dan Sod has been a mentor for you guys from day one, I'm sure. So just being part of that and then turning around and then doing that for somebody else. Like the Chamber's Next Gen program is that you can mentor high school students, which you are beyond that, so you could do that. But then I turn around and I mentor young women who are Lauren's age or a little younger, right? And so it's like just giving back and realizing, take advantage and learn what's there for you, but also give back then and do the same for others.
Yeah.
I think for me, and this is something I'm obviously still actively learning, but I think it's like, there's so much pressure. I don't know where it comes from. Some of it is internal, some of it is external probably, but this pressure of like, you need to figure out exactly what it is. You need to, you don't. I think that's something I've struggled with in just like, even in this job, I'm like, what do I want to do? Like, I feel like it's still this internal question, but like, I've talked to so many people that are older than me and they're like, I don't know, I'm just figuring it out. And I'm like, oh, so we're all just figuring it out. That's what we're doing. Yeah. And so, yeah, whatever that voice is that's telling you, like, you need to know exactly what it is you want to do right now at the age of 27, like, it's just not true or accurate because so many people are still figuring it out.
Right.
So just like, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Keep putting yourself out there and you'll figure it out. It's not that deep.
Great advice. Not that deep.
I need to stop going into the end because I'm intimidated about
Sorry.
it. So there's a guy named Joseph Campbell who has this quote. He says, the cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek, right? And I think so often fear keeps us from doing things that are really valuable. And so I would just say, don't let fear be the determining factor in whether or not you make the choices you make. You need to be wise. There are certain things you shouldn't do because they're stupid.
Yeah.
Don't do those things. That's not fear, that's wisdom. But there are things that are hard that often we don't do because we're afraid. And I think often those are the places that are most fruitful in our development as people.
Just had that
Good
quote
one.
ready.
You did. That was good.
Yeah, right.
It lives rent free in my head.
Wow,
Yeah,
rent-free.
write that one down.
That's good.
Well, we really appreciate you guys coming on. This was your second time, first
Yep.
time coming on. We really appreciate you guys, and thanks for everything you do for the community as well.
Thank
Looking
you.
forward
And
to-
thanks for the volunteering you do and your desire to step out of Columbia and even make it a broader reach.
Of course,
Thanks.
thank you.
And
that's-
I'm sorry. I know you're trying to wrap up, but if I can just say, I mean, I think I would also say thank you guys because I do think we lose sight of. We think often that businesses are about making money and nonprofits are about making a difference. But I think you guys are a good example of businesses run well can be a force for good in the community. And so thank you for what you're
We
doing.
really appreciate that. No, it's been great. Thank you guys again for coming on, and hopefully we have you on again soon, I'm sure. And yeah, thank you, and we'll see you on the next episode.